start recording that. Get some levels if we can.
Check. Galakrond's Awakening. Solo content coming out. Talking about that. And I'm going to be talking about
When you talk today, try to aim for the circle. You don't have to get like close to it or anything, but just aim your mouth. Aim your mouth to the circle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna like, my chair is gonna be pushing a little bit.
That's good. Yeah.
Hello.
Because I usually sit kind of right, so my voice, so I'm angling my mouth this way.
What cock references going on?
Cocker. Hey, what can I say? Yeah, no, that sounds good. And there's our little protector.
I love it.
That looks good. You sound good.
Thank you.
Close that. And
Your sister's podcast is awesome.
you like it?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, right?
Here now I'm trying to focus more on the laptop instead of the phone for show stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit.
What? What? Mega play? You just made a huge play?
No. The season. I think the season. No. You can't be right. Oh, alright, that was. Nice, he's playing the deck that I wanted to talk about today, I think. I hope. Yogurt. This is my friend.
Oh, I wanted to talk about this thing that happened to me last night.
You want to talk about yogurt?
It was okay. So Dragon's Horde gave me another Alexstrasza. I have one Alexstrasza in here already, right? Yeah.
My mom sent me oranges if you want a orange or tangerine or anything. I don't know if you like them, but feel free to have one.
Thank you. Dragon's Horde, Dragon Queen Alexstrasza gave me, Dragon's Horde gave me Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. Galakron gave me, wait a minute, what the hell was it? No, Galakron gave me a 0 cost Emerus, which gives all of your minions plus 3 or 5? Oh, I gotta look that up. Okay, but Galakron gave me, no, Galakron wouldn't give me that. Wouldn't give me a 0 cost. It was, okay, my Dragon Queen, this was epic. I wish I had written this down, but I was like right before I went to bed. Dragon Queen gave me a 0 cost Emerus. And then Dragon's Horde gave me a second Dragon's Queen Alexstrasza. And then I had Anna Bisaf. Warbringer. I just dropped, on turn 9, I dropped Bisaf Warbringer. On turn 9, just dropped it. And it was able to resolve and gave everybody +3/+3. My guys are so pumped. They were, I mean, it was huge. I had a whole hand of legendaries and everything was pumped huge. And I won't tell you the really cool thing yet. Okay, and alright, so all I need is to pull up.
Stop!
Emerus, which is a card I've always tried to make work in like a beast hunter deck. Doubles the attack and health of all minions in your hand. Okay, yeah, that's what Emerus does. I don't have anything off topic today. Do you?
Not really. It's okay. We don't have to. It's not like it's a requirement. It might be good for a shorter episode, you know, every once in a while too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like.
I mean, we always talk about off-topic stuff anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, he's playing.
Gruel Temple. Ja, ik zou het zo kunnen zeggen, maar ik weet niet.
Pro athlete grade handheld massage gun.
You mean a Hitachi vibrator?
Yes, but it's
But
shaped like a gun.
Yeah, you see those? They have the little.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a drill.
This is to massage abs.
Yeah, to massage your abs.
Are you recording this?
Of course I am.
Good. Because he's not massaging any abs.
No.
Exactly. I think we know what he's massaging. You could save 25%. to get back to the gym faster and more comfortably in 2020 with help from the Evertone Prosage Thermo with percussion and heat massaging tech. Right now it's 25% off, $199.99 at just $149.99. Tell you what, go to Kmart and buy the back massager. Same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Same fucking
Same
thing.
thing.
$39.99. Blue light special,
Kmart still around.
$14.99.
Yeah, I went out of business, I think.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. When's the last time you saw Kmart?
Is this videotaping?
Mhm.
Good. Because I've been looking this up right now. Kmart.
Sears and Kmart.
Kmart.com still a
Facing
thing.
more closings, the parent company of the two retailers, Transform and Holdco, announced in a Thursday press release that 96 more Sears and Kmart stores have closed in the United States by February, with liquidation sales at those stores expected to begin December 2nd. So they're going out of business, or they're scaling down, Sears and Kmart, because they're owned by a bigger company.
Okay, I know Sears has been doing that for a long time.
I've been doing that since I think I was a kid. Yeah.
Gotta say, Land's End is a Sears brand.
Mhm.
It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good quality women's clothing. Land's End. Although, some of it is more old lady-ish.
Yeah.
But
That's what Sears is just an old lady to me. Anyway.
there's some cute stuff. They have cute bathing suits.
Yeah.
I think. But Kmart, still a thing though. We can check out.
Barely.
Well, I'll tell you what, at a Kmart liquidation, could probably get one of those massagers. Real cheap. Real cheap. All right.
All right.
There's our off topic.
Yeah.
I mean, I have like a PSA it's been on my mind. I wanted to just say. I can say that later.
Yep.
Cool.
Can you bring? Is that where you're sitting? Is that how you're going to be sitting?
Yeah.
Distance wise, can you just pull the microphone like by the base of it? Just slide it. I can't every single time. It ends up being like a dick thing. Can you? Yeah. Can you just pull it
Just towards my mouth.
Slowly towards your mouth. A little bit closer, but just don't let it touch.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Is that good?
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, that's good.
Oh,
That's
hey.
good. That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go when you are. If you want to do the intro.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Welcome to episode 29 of Mythic Legendaries, a podcast about Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone, brought to you by two old friends who love podcasts and the games we play. My name is Mark Sapphire.
My name is Rich G.
Hello, Rich G.
Hello.
How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. I am the Hearthstone correspondent, and Rich G is the Magic correspondent.
That's right.
And today, on the Hearthstone side of the table, going to be talking about Galakrond's Awakening, solo content coming out, card reveals that have been shown so far, and going to go through those, and also going to talk about Highlander Rogue. And that's what's
where
going
you're at.
on over here.
Cool. Well, on the Magic side, we got Theros Beyond Death came out for streamers early access just now. So I have the streamer Crokies playing some standard Theros, which is wild. How
Today's
it's
a big day.
It's a big day for Magic. New set day. I mean, it's for any game, it's a big time. So I'm just kind of have him on in the background. He's playing some stuff that he theory crafted. I want to go over one of the decks that he theory crafted that I'm interested in because it contains elementals and cards that I was interested in seeing play. And then the standard ladder that I've been on with one of the decks that I saw and built and retooled, and it's been I climbed the ladder, got to platinum today, so that's
Congrats.
cool. Thank you. And yeah, we got a lot of things to talk about with Theros coming out, so I'll touch on a few things, and that's what I got.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so this is the pre-release of the pre-release.
They call it the pre-release. It's like it's the streamer event. So every set now, because of Arena, they have streamers get early access to all the cards before the general public does, and then I think tomorrow or the next day,
So who are they playing against though?
other people who have that access.
Oh, it's
like
just
there's a
that
whole bunch
pool
of people. Yeah,
With the
yeah.
code? Oh,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So and then like it's either tomorrow or the next day, everybody else gets it, and then on Friday is the pre-release for paper. So I'm going to that as well with Rachel. Her
Yes.
first thing. Can you come Friday?
I
You working?
can't because it's, what
Oh.
time is it?
It's the
My dad's birthday.
dad's birthday. Twin Oaks
Twin Oaks. Yep.
voted #1 restaurant in Rhode Island, the Reader's Choice. So
What?
we got the Reader's Choice winners for 2019 for the Providence Journal
Uh-huh.
at work last night. We came in second place for best brew pub, but I saw Twin Oaks got #1 like fancy restaurant or something, and I thought of you because you had been in that.
I haven't been there in years.
Yeah.
I heard back in the day it used to be just all male waiters. Yeah, and like you used to have to pay the maitre d'.
It sounds
To,
like
like,
one
get
of
a
those kind of
table.
things. Yeah, like a very
Yeah, but I hope it's not like that anymore because that's bullshit.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But yeah, so we got a whole bunch of things coming out, which is great.
What time is the pre-release?
4 o'clock. Yeah, it's like smack in the middle of the day, so kind of inconvenient for most. But
Thank you for thinking of me because I would go if I could.
they do them all weekend too. So if you find yourself not busy on Sunday, they do one on Sunday as well. And then
I start a work trip, so but maybe if I have a long layover or something,
Yeah.
probably not
see
gonna
what
happen.
happens.
I just sleep.
Yeah. Sorry.
But thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Welcome to episode 29.
yes, welcome. Galacron's Awakening
Yeah, Galacron with Snoozin.
launches January 21st.
Okay. What is that? What is Galacron's Awakening? Is it a set?
It's a solo content,
It's the thing you were talking about with all those
35 new cards.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
I've been debating whether I want to buy it
Mm-hmm.
just because there was Descent of Dragons and then there was the Winter Veil bundle.
Want that money?
And,
Want that
I know,
money?
they
They're like,
want-
wow, look at this, more stuff.
I know. So, but I'm trying to weigh it because you get, okay, so this is from Out of Cards, is a really cool website. It's not just a Hearthstone website, it's a gaming website. They have a nice little summary here. New content launches January 21st with chapters releasing over 4 weeks. Each week brings us a new chapter and new cards. A total of 35 new collectible cards will be added to the game and also to standard meta, and wild meta. Yeah, they'll be out there,
Right.
playable.
Sprinkled in the different formats. Yeah.
The cards will be unlocked by progressing through the chapters. The whole adventure can be purchased for $20, or each chapter can be purchased individually for $7 or 700 gold. So, if you're a free-to-play player and you got that gold,
Yep.
you can get it, which
Yep.
is pretty cool.
Are these the kind of things like when I discovered on Arena, like they're available to craft if you have the wild
Dust.
cards or whatever, or is that, or do you have to buy them? Because I was under that impression. Remember when I wanted to play historic, but didn't want to spend money on cards, but then I just found out I could craft them anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, is it the same kind of thing?
yeah. You can craft them.
Okay.
But the question is, okay, so it's I read this somewhere at some point or heard it somewhere. It's like the algorithm is like average every 15 packs you get a legendary, or you get a friggin' Grizzled Wizard epic. Because that fucking wizard ends up as every time I get an epic, I must have opened 12 Grizzled Wizards. They get dusted immediately. So that's like I don't know how much it is for 15 packs,
Yeah.
but I think it's like $19.99 or
Yeah.
something for 15 packs normally.
Yeah.
So $20 to like open a legendary that you may or may not need.
Right. It seems very supplemental. Like it is a supplemental thing, but for like a player, like it seems like you either really want it or you just kind of like, I could do without it.
People love the solo content. And I've read that it's kind of saved Hearthstone. Like it's been wildly popular, these solo adventures. I'm not super into the last one I've done was Kobolds and Catacombs, the dungeon run. And I did that one. And I was all in. I was using, walkthroughs and like spent a lot of time.
Right.
The card back is not that great. I don't think.
You love those card backs though.
Yeah.
So this one.
I
is
wish
like,
it was a sweet one that I'd be excited about. Like, you know what I hope they do one day is, this gets me excited, is if they would bring back the cupcake card back.
That's such a rare one, right?
Oh, it's one of the old ones that you just got from playing a certain season. It was just one of those. Because you get a new card back every season for winning 5 games in a season. But maybe they could do something one day, like if you beat it on heroic, you get this button that you can press, and then you can pick from these 5 old, rare, which are just from old seasons that you can't get anymore.
Right.
There's no length I would not go to earn that.
Yeah.
I'd cheat for it if I had to. So yeah, the card back's not that great, but there's gonna be epics and legendaries in there, and they're gonna be powerful. And I'm about to tell you what's been revealed thus far. And so I just don't know how many legendaries or how many epics are gonna be in there, but even if there's one legendary, which the one I'm looking at is there, it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna do
You
it.
just convinced yourself.
I'm doing it. I'm
Yeah.
doing it for Team HS.
All right.
MLP for life.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. I'm gonna buy it. You also get a if you buy it, you get a golden pack where all the cards inside are golden. So you're gonna get golden. You get all that dust. So yeah, I'll try to open the golden pack. Will be I'll save it.
Yeah.
I'll save it till I think I'm around the legendary time, so I can get a golden legendary. When I did the Wintervale bundle, I got 2 golden legendaries.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big day.
That's awesome.
They both been. No, I kept Electro Storm Surge, and I played Electro Storm Surge in my Overload Shaman deck, and it's a pretty cool card. It's really good. It's really good. I don't know if it's great, but it can squeeze out a win.
Yeah. Not a very played deck type.
My feeling is that it's like a 50% win rate kind of deck, where sometimes you get lucky, you feel like, oh, this is it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then reality sets in.
Yeah.
And you start losing.
Right. I'm hoping that Paladin, I can't wait to play Paladin again. Paladin is kind of one of my favorites. Yeah. And I wish there was a female Paladin hero that you can play. I think the cat farted because she's right under me.
She might have pooped because she was just great. You remember you hear her?
Oh yeah.
So she probably
wafting it in.
Yeah.
But I've got incense smoke over here, so that's
She
good.
probably pooped. That's all right.
So sorry. 4 new cards have been revealed. Dark Prophecy is a 3 mana. It's a 3 mana spell. Discover a 2-cost minion, summon it, and give it +3 health. That seems really strong for 3 mana. You could get some really cool stuff. That's a priest card. Dark Prophecy. Then we have Shotbot, which is a 2/2 for 2 reborn mech. It's a paladin card. Mech paladin has been an archetype. 2/2 reborn mech seems good. It's a common. Then we have a demon. It's a warlock card. It's a 4/3 for 3 epic demon. Battle cry. Corrupt a playable card in your opponent's hand. They have 1 turn to play it. That's
What is corrupt?
corrupt is it'll die on the next turn.
So it's got like a lifespan, like a.
Yeah. So if they don't play it, if it gets priorities now is your turn.
Yep.
If you can't play it when it's back to my turn,
It just goes away.
it's gonna. Hopefully, it'll cry when it leaves too, and it'll be something big. That's a really good demon.
Yeah.
And the demon pool hasn't been super awesome either. Like the Galakron, the Warlock Galakron, when it's like fully done and you get all these demons, random demons, just spawn onto your board. Sometimes they're good, but sometimes they're not. You want the taunt ones to come out. But this is a battle cry too, so even if you get this guy, it's not going to help you. It's just a 4/3 for 3. So, just thinking about it. Just chopping it up.
Yep.
Thinking about it. Thinking about these demons.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a powerful demon. It's epic. You can play 2 of them.
Yep.
It's really cool. I like disrupting your opponent's hand. I think I love stuff like
I
that.
like that strategy in Magic too.
Yeah.
In
And-
theory, it's good. It's good. I don't know if it's the same in Hearthstone where you do it and you do it a bunch. You get like a good draw, right? And you use a lot of like 1, and then like on turn 2 and 3, you can use like 2 or 3 more spells to get rid of. But then you like run out of cards in your hand, and your opponent is also out of cards. So the cards that you get to make your opponent discard cards are now like
Dead.
invalid, and then you have to draw into your like win condition. So come on, dude, get down. So I don't know, is that the same kind of thing? And because I mean in Magic there's like tons of different spells that are like discard a card or make your opponent discard 2 cards, but
There's not a lot of disrupt your opponent's hand stuff.
okay,
There's copy stuff in your opponent's hand randomly.
right,
Like copy a random, or there's a legendary that has, for every turn this is in your hand, it turns into a copy of a card in your opponent's hand. So it gives you a little bit of knowledge of what's in your opponent's hand.
Right.
And then you can play it if you want to, which is fun, but hasn't ended up in a meta deck. They seem to be kind of memey.
right,
Fun.
Yeah.
Could be powerful if the conditions are right.
but
Kind
they're
of.
just like not like top level playable cards.
Yeah.
I got you.
So this is really interesting to me because I've always hoped for something that lets you discard a
Yeah,
card.
you said that like you wanted that to be a thing for the Blizzard.
Yeah.
New
So
mechanic. Yeah.
this is cool. I want 2 of them for Christmas. Going back to that priest spell.
Yep.
I'm just looking at some comments. People are leaving. Anyone able to do the what's possible to find a standard? That is too solid. Flesh would melt, thaw, resolve. Once again, proving that they are unable to do anything viable with priest that isn't absolute cancer. What deck would even run this unironically? Why is it so hard to just print acceptable I'm so happy I read this. Why is it so hard to just print acceptable mid-range cards for priests and try for a buff theme that doesn't involve one OTKing your opponents? Oh well, guess 3 more months of AFK priest it is. AFK? I don't know.
Away from keyboard? Is that-
Oh,
is that-
probably.
Yeah.
Oh my god, is it that powerful? Dark Prophecy? Discover a 2-cost minion. Summon it and give it +3 health. How is that? What am I missing? This is used to buffs. You're gonna hope for something to OTK. Alright. Malagos Priest is a thing. That's interesting. I'm gonna look more into that. Yeah, I'm getting more excited about buying this solo content. I did enjoy Kobolds and Catacombs.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
I'm gonna play through it.
But I hope it doesn't be like one of those things where you buy it and then it's cool for like a week when you're trying to like make things happen and then they don't happen and you're like, back to
Dusting,
dusting or like dusting
craft
or dusting
craft
or
things.
just going to a deck that was fine to begin with without those things in it. So,
Yeah,
but
but
I had my fingers crossed for
you
it.
know what's cool though?
What?
It would make content for the show because it's an every week thing.
Yeah.
So
That's true. That's
and
cool.
it gives me something to play.
Yeah.
To like work through.
Mhm.
It's a fun
You're right.
goal. So. Okay, a couple more comments about Discover Prophecy. Good to play on curve, but of no much use otherwise. That's funny.
Yeah.
That one person above is saying it's your private nightmare says this is OP, this is awful, this is gonna kill my enjoyment of the game, and May Hearn says good to play on curve, but of not much use otherwise.
You know, that's everywhere, every game, every card, every deck. It's like there's always
These are
like
people's hot
there's
takes.
people on there's people on either side of it. Always there's like that card is good, and it's like neat to see how people think. You know, like one person will be like, "Oh, that's not good," whatever, and then you hear somebody be like, "Oh, that'll be good in XYZ," and you're like, Oh yeah, so like
I
there's
like
people that
those
think
comments
like
because that's what I'm trying to figure out.
they think like in layers, you know what I mean? That they'll think deeper and be like, what can we try to make that work with? And they try to make it work, and then it's either does or it doesn't. But
Yeah.
you know, people take cards at face value, and then there's people take cards and like actually think about where to put them. You know?
Right. I'm trying to be one of the latter, where I'm like trying to figure out how does this work and what does it work with. But my hot take on it is I'm interested because Discover can give you things that you don't need.
Yep.
But to be able to buff it for +3 health is like, even if it's something you don't need, at least it's got +3 health.
Right.
So it makes it more useful. And moving on to our last card revealed, the amazing Reno.
Oh, I heard about Reno.
Yes, he's getting his own hero card, and it's Battle Cry, make all minions disappear. Poof.
So he costs 10. Is that right?
It costs 10,
And
but
it's
you
got,
might be able to get it out earlier.
and it's got a 5 toughness.
Okay,
So
because it's got 5 shield.
5 shield because it's a hero. Is that why it's different than a regular spell? Like
Yeah.
why is the layout different on that?
Because he's a hero card. So when you play him, you get the shield added on to your power kind of. So you have your power, say you're at 20, then you got 20 plus 5 shield. So whenever you take damage, first you take shield damage,
Okay.
and then it goes through to your regular damage.
Okay.
So it pumps you up a little bit because it costs 10. So that's good. It's good. It makes it a little bit more worth it to play it. Battle Cry. Oh, and then does that answer your question? No. Then he changes it because he changes your hero power.
Where does it go? Like when you play it?
Okay.
Does it go into play? Like
So you start as your standard hero with your standard hero power.
Yep.
Then you play a hero card. Now you have a different hero power.
Oh. Alright.
And you do something cool.
Okay.
And your hero skin changes.
Okay, so you turn into Reno or whatever.
Yeah, you turn into Reno.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you start as your standard hero.
Yep.
Then you become Reno.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. That's fun.
Yeah. And Battle Cries seems pretty good.
It's a Wrath of God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make all minions disappear. Poof. Then your passive hero power, which passive hero powers are great. It's just like an emblem that just changes the game.
Yep.
And it just happens. You don't have to pay for it. At the start of your turn, cast a random spell, which could be very chaotic.
I love that it's called What Does This Do? What does this do?
Yeah.
What does this do?
It's
That's
gonna.
fun.
Hearthstone has a lot of random everything is so random. The
Yeah.
the meta right now is super random.
Yeah.
It's very swingy, hard to get a grip on
Yeah.
something consistent because it's like, oh my god. So at the start of your turn, cast a random spell. I'm assuming
from your deck, like it has to be like
no, from the game.
whoa,
Anything
that's crazy.
in the pool of spells
Whoa,
from any class. I'm assuming from any class, any spell. I'm assuming it's like
that's
the
crazy.
puzzle box,
Yeah,
which just casts 10 random spells, but one at a time.
wild. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That there's
targets random.
right.
You could do 10 damage to yourself with a pyroblast.
Yeah.
And end your life. A cool thing that they mentioned on Out of Cards is this was originally supposed to be what Magic Trick does,
Mm-hmm.
which is a 1-cost spell, but now Magic Trick is discover a spell that costs 3 or less.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Mythic legendaries. Don't quote me on that.
Don't quote me on that.
So, random. That's just like it. Whenever for Magic, random is always bad, unless it's like make your opponent discard cards at random. That's good, but like anything else like random, like
I'm glad you said that because that makes me think that Chaos Gazer is going to be really good.
yeah. It's just you want certainty when you're like searching your library for something and then putting it in. I know there's there's a card called Gamble. It's like 1 red. You search your library for a card and put it into your hand, and then discard a card at random. So like you have a chance of discarding it. You know what I mean? Like so like you just wouldn't play that card. You know what I mean? You know, it's like a card that just is awful, so it doesn't get any play. But I see for Hearthstone, it's more of like a randomness is like part of the vibe of the game, right? Like there's like it makes sense more.
Yes.
Yeah.
For Hearthstone, it fits right in.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think. Though there's supposed to be. So what I'm thinking is every week you're gonna get a new kind of set of these. So maybe every week you're gonna get a common, an uncommon, an epic, and a legendary. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then every week you're probably gonna get a new hero card for the League of Explorers. So it's the evil guys versus the League of Explorers. So now we're gonna get 4 League of Explorers are back to kick ass. So it's pretty exciting. This is just so crazy. I mean, they've really ramped up to this final set of the Year of the Dragon. And it's gonna be crazy.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad you convinced yourself that you want to actually.
I want to win, Rich G.
Yeah.
I want to win. I want to hit legendary. But, it just seems like I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I gotta be patient.
Yeah.
I'm a solid level 10 player.
Yeah.
I've gotten from 10 to 9 back and forth all season.
Yeah.
And now we're halfway through the season. First season of 2020.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I'm trying. It's not for lack of trying.
For both of us, yeah. For both of us, as game players, it's the time. The thing that sets us apart from the mythic and the legendary people are time. People sit and they play every day, maybe every other day, but they play for like hours at a time. They hone their skill, they stick with the deck, or they switch between 1 or 2. They put a little bit more like thought into the metagame and then like adjust and like continually like it's just practice, and then with all those practice and getting a little bit better, then the results get better and you climb and you climb and you climb and you kind of know where you're at. But for me recently, I mean, it's been a weird couple months with the holidays and like just not
it's
really
so busy. Yeah.
We both work and we both have lives that call for being away from computer for a while. You know what I mean? So that's what I think is. I mean, I know is what sets the top tier people from us. We're casual players, right? But we have the dream of being a pro level player. We don't want to be a pro player.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be great, but
Yeah.
just to get to that level and be like, all right, I hit that plateau. Like I actually,
I checked that box.
yeah, I checked the box. I am that good, and
It's an important milestone,
yeah,
and we're gonna get there.
yeah, we are.
We're just gonna, I think the right deck at the right time is the key.
Yep.
Because the meta changes really quickly, and if you don't have the cards, it can slow you down.
Right.
That becomes a problem for me
Yeah.
because there's a hand lock deck right now that I wish I could play. I think it would get me higher, at least to 5. Maybe it wouldn't, but I'm missing 2 legendaries, and I'm not gonna buy them. I'm not gonna just spend enough money this month. I'm not doing it. So I focused on 2 decks. I was playing Galakron Rogue and Highlander Rogue. I went old school. I had some time, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write down these games. I'm gonna play the same deck. I'm gonna try it. I did pretty good with Galakron Rogue for a while, and I played. I don't have what good is. I don't have the list in front of me, but I played like 12 games, and I won 7 or 8. It was okay.
Was it the deck you were playing when I saw you playing the other night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I switched back to Highlander Rogue, and my results have been better with Highlander Rogue, and it's a lot of fun. I found a list that was posted by Jalexander HS, and hey, shout out to Guaku on our Discord. Just shout out, thanks for listening, thanks for being part of the team.
Yeah.
We're Hearthstone friends, and it's cool. Please join us on our Discord, discord.me/mythic legendaries, where you can find links to all of our decks in the show notes, and you can connect with us and talk Hearthstone and talk Magic the Gathering. Shout out to Ron, Lane the Main, all of our old friends, our friends of the show. Thank you for being there.
Yeah, thanks for all the helpful encouragement, tips, tricks.
Yeah,
all
you're the lifeblood of the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening so much. It means the world to us. So I'm going to post this deck list, the Highlander Rogue deck list, and I had last night I had a really amazing play. Let me go through the deck list quickly. We have 1 Backstab, so it's a Highlander deck. 1 Shadow Step, 1 Bloodsail Flybooter, 1 Dragon Sword, which is pretty key, which is an amazing card. Discover a legendary minion from any class. 1 Pharaoh Cat. It's a very good card. It's very good for your opening hand. Dragon Sword is very good. These just lower kind of playing curve. Very good. Praise Galakron. Very good. Eviscerate. 1 Sap. 1 Underbelly Fence. Very good card. 1 Zephyrs the Great. This is awesome. 1 Blink Fox. This deck is so much fun. 1 Edwin Van Cleef. 1 Evil Miscreant. 1 Necrium Blade. 1 Seal Fate. 1 Hench Clan Burglar. 1 Vendetta. 1 Faceless Corruptor. 1 Leroy Jenkins. 1 Necrium Apothecary. 1 Shield of Galakron. 1 Ziliax. 1 Flick Sky Shiv, which is invaluable. This card.
We love that card.
This card is the shit.
Yeah.
When you're in a meta where you can make millions of copies of everything, Flick delivers.
Hell yeah, Flick.
Awesome removal. Heistborn Togwaggle. Awesome. If you control a lackey, choose a fantastic creature treasure. I always choose the wand, the Wondrous Wand, which lets you draw 3 cards. They cost 0, which synchronizes really well with Edwin Van Cleef. If you have Edwin Van Cleef in your hand, you can pump up your Edwin. And but it's just good to have cards that cost 0, for sure. And we're getting to the meat of the deck right now. 1 Kronk's Dragon Hoof, 1 Mechanical Whelp, 1 Galakron, 1 Siamat, 1 Anubisath Warbringer, and 1 Dragon Queen Alistraza, which she is the queen and she is the MVP. So last night I was playing my Dragon Queen Alistraza. I was trying to remember this. Gave me a 0-cost Emers. I was playing against a Resurrect Priest, my mortal enemy, and which I've like had no luck against Resurrection Priest. It's so annoying to play against, but I won because my Dragon Queen gave me a 0-cost Emerus, which doubles the attack and health of all minions in your hand. Then Dragon's Horde, the 1-cost spell, gave me another Dragon Queen Alistraza. Then I played the Warbringer. I just dropped it on turn 9, and it was able to resolve it without the Necrian Blade, just using it for probably a couple of turns before it died and triggered.
Right.
And I had a whole handful of amazing legendaries. Everything was pumped, and I beat Resurrection Priest. It's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Good job.
Thank you. And I thought this is impossible.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
It is possible.
I fucking did it.
You did. Good job.
Thank you. And this deck is awesome. There's always an answer. Like you always have. You pump your stuff up. So you can pump your Leroy, and then you can copy your Leroy. You can, oh my god. This deck it feels like you can't lose, although you do. I wish you wouldn't ever lose. But it is important to play on curve with this to try, because if you have to wait till later to play any turn 5 or 6 to play anything, it's not very good.
Right.
It's very good to have a Pharaoh Cat, to have any of your Galakron invokers to give you lackeys. If you can invoke, if you can get something good from Pharaoh Cat, you do need to have some early gameplay to stand a chance. And other than that, don't attack Resurrect Quest Priest if you don't have to, because that's just like early on, if you're just doing 2 damage or 1 damage and they heal themselves, you're just helping them like complete their quest faster.
Right.
Which seems obvious, but it's one of those things where you're so used to that's your number 2 play, like your turn 2 play if you don't have anything to play, is just to hit them in the face.
Right.
But if they, it's just one of those stupid little things where after you do it, you're like, yeah. So
I knew I shouldn't have done that.
I still think I can play this deck better, and I think this deck, in the right hands, is very, very dangerous. So
You are the right hand, though.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna keep playing this because it's hella fun, and yeah. So if you want to try it, let me know how it goes for you. Let me know of your little tricks and things if you have them, and that's gonna wrap it up. Galakron's Awakening. I'm excited. I'm gonna order it today.
Awesome. I'm glad you changed your mind. in your stream of consciousness right there. You're like, I'm not gonna do
I
this.
like to think. Like to think live on the show.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
It makes it can fall flat, but I think it went well today.
Yeah. Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would love to those Reese's Pieces back there. Rich had yogurt for lunch.
Uh-huh.
It was very healthy.
Yes.
You're gluten free this month.
Yes.
How's it going?
Great. No issues at all. We went to the Good Fortune Asian Market down in almost Cranston. It's like right, the big lottery sign off of 95.
Yeah.
It's like right at the base of that. Like,
Yeah.
Right there, right off the highway there. We went over the weekend and bought like a mess of like rice.
Is it that
rice noodles.
huge,
It's a
huge Vietnamese place?
Yeah. It's all.
It's
Asian.
like off Elmwood?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there. Oh my god, they have
Yeah.
instant porridge.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's like those little, like the noodle one, the top ramen, like the noodle cup.
Yeah.
It's like that, except it's porridge.
Mhm.
And it's porridge, you can call it porridge, and then the Japanese call it congee.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. I don't know the Japanese
Right.
specifically.
Yeah.
Vietnamese people also call it congee. Don't let me,
You don't have to.
I'm sorry. Anyway, it's awesome. You can't get it anywhere except at that place.
The place is amazing. There was, when I lived up in Boston, there was one right down the street from my house, and then moved down here, and I didn't know it was there until fairly recently. So we went over the weekend and we just bought like everything. And the best
It's
part
so much
about
fun.
it is that the produce is cheap, the produce is good, but with any Asian food, there's a lot more option for like gluten-free stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that's made out of rice.
Oh, okay.
And so like there's rice noodles and rice paper and rice this, rice that, which is where I'm at right now. So we came home and we made like the biggest pot of like soup. We not call it ramen, but like the same concept. It was just like a big noodle soup, like Asian inspired noodle soup, and it was just like the best.
Wow.
The best, yeah. So
Do you eat the do you drink rice milk?
I don't.
You tried it?
Yeah, it's too thin. It's just too thin for me. It's like watery rice.
Do you like vanilla soy milk?
Yes.
Okay, because at the grocery store they have a bunch of it on sale. It's gonna get you one. It's super cheap.
Okay. I could always use that stuff. I always use it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, delicious. But yeah, gluten-free month is going well. So,
Good.
Yeah. It's a lot easier when you can stock up on groceries that help you in your diet.
Yeah.
That are like not so perishable, like noodles and stuff are dry, so I can keep them for a while. And then just eat normally. Don't like overdo it, and just change the direction of your diet, and you're falling in line with what you're trying to do, but you're still able to eat and not feel miserable about it. Because some people go on a diet and just like crash because they're not eating and they're picking the wrong things to eat, and you still need to eat, right? You're not it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And for me, it was just kind of get my eating patterns a little bit different, and also cut out all the bread that I've been eating. And I feel good.
Good. I'm happy to hear that.
Thanks.
What's your favorite fruit?
Favorite fruit? I was gonna say tangerines, because I've been
You like citrus?
been tearing through these things. But if I have to be honest, my favorite fruit are probably grapes. Green
Because I
grapes.
want to bring something. I used to always bring Taco Bell,
Yeah.
but we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll make a fruit cup
Fruit cup.
with pineapple juice as the juice.
Ooh, pineapples.
Yes. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
I
gonna
mean, any fruit. I am a
love
fan.
fruit
I'm a
too.
fruit fan.
do. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do.
Awesome.
Fruit is gluten free.
Yeah, it is. So y'all set with your Hearthstone?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Well, thanks for all the wonderful.
My
input.
pleasure. MLP for life.
Congratulations for beating Rez Priest. Right.
Definitely the highlight
Yeah.
of my Hearthstone week.
Awesome.
I hope he or she was streaming it.
Rub it in.
Yeah.
Well, Magic the Gathering has a new set coming out. It's pre-release time online right now. There is literally, like, on one of my tabs, I have Croaky's the streamer, just watching him, not watching, but passively glancing at like decks that he's had theory crafted in the website Ether Hub. Ether Hub is a website where you
I
can.
found this on the web for crafted in the website.
What?
What?
Why did
Siri got activated.
Siri get activated? That was strange. Anyway, Ether Hub is a website you can theory craft with cards that are not out yet, but they have the information there, so you can put decks together and see how they look. So he had posted a couple recently, and one was this deck that had Risen Reef in it. Risen Reef is one of my favorite elementals, you know.
Yeah.
So I can't see the deck that. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Let's see. Now I can only zoom one time. Let me see here. But anyway, the decks and everything are starting to kind of come together because people with the early access and stuff are putting them together and playing today. So if you're going to hear this on Friday. Today is Wednesday. So Friday, everybody will have access to all the cards. I purchased my pre-release bundle this morning because today is the last day that you could purchase it and get all the bonus stuff with it. So that means I got 50 packs, card sleeve, and then something else. I don't even know. I was like, okay, cool. I got this stuff. I just care about the cards, you know. But I got the 50 pack
You
bundle.
probably got, like alternate art or something.
So, yeah, I got something, you know. And so we get to open those tomorrow, and then start playing. I saved all that gold. I have like 55,000 gold, and then I have 4,000 gems.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I haven't done anything. I haven't spent any in-game currency since like the second week of when Throne of Eldraine came out, which is months and months ago now. Because I was, like I had said last podcast, I was not thrilled with the drafting, with the limited stuff that you pay money to get into for Throne of Eldraine. So I've just been brewing things that are fun for me to play, and looking forward to this new set. So
That's a lot of gold.
it is a lot of gold.
I spend my gold right away.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, now that I know that like a draft is going to be 5,000 gold. When it gets when a new set comes out, they don't offer anything for gold. They offer it all for gems. So people will spend money. I mean, it's simple business. Like, oh no, we don't take that currency for this thing. You have to spend gems on it.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a bummer, but I can do a couple. I think the sealed decks they do are like 2,000 or 2,500 gems. So I have at least 2 banked, and then that means I'll get 6 packs for each one. So I'll have 6 more rares for each one. We can build the collection a little bit more. So that's what's going to happen when that drops tomorrow. But I was looking at this deck that Croaky's put together because it's elementals, and it's a whole bunch of literally the only different card in here is Thassa Deep Dwelling. It's an elemental based deck, so it's got Leafkin Druids, Risen Reefs, Hydroid Graces, Paradise Druids, Omnaths, Neoform, Nissa, Cavalier of Thorns, Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, and then the combo here is Claim the Firstborn. It's a sorcery that costs 1 red, and it says gain control of target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. So basically you can steal something of your opponent's that costs 3 or less. Then Thassa Deep Dwelling is a 6/5 legendary enchantment creature from Theros. It's a god. Costs 3 colorless and 1 blue, which is crazy for 6/5. It's indestructible. It says, as long as your devotion to blue is less than 5, Thassa isn't a creature. And with this deck, your devotion to blue will probably be less than 5 because there's not a lot of double blue. There's just a couple in Risen Reef and a couple in Hydroid Graces, or 1 in Hydroid Graces. Anyway, Thassa's ability is at the beginning of your end step. Exile up to 1 other target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So with Claim the Firstborn, you steal someone's creature that costs 3 or less. You get it. It gets haste until end of turn, and then at the end of the turn, you have to give it back.
Okay.
But
if you kill one of their own minions, then that's good. So you can steal it and
right,
then
you steal it,
kill one of their
block,
things.
whatever. But the combo here is that when the two things during your end step, you have to give back your creature, and then Thassa's ability goes on the stack,
Okay.
which says at the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under your control. So that creature you stole from your opponent is going to be the target for that ability. It'll go away, then the Claim the Firstborn ability doesn't see it anymore, so you don't have to give it back to your opponent, and then this resolves,
And then
and
you
then
own
it's
it.
yours.
Wow.
It's like such a nifty little annoying combo, but I think that's really cool and a lot of fun. And Thassa also has an activated ability that says 3 colors, 1 blue, tap another target creature, which is fine. But steal your opponent's thing, make it go away at your end step, and then it comes back
as yours.
and
amazing.
with no stipulation. Now you stole it for free because you have Thassa out. So
Has he been doing it?
I haven't seen. He started playing with the deck when we first started the podcast, and then he's been jumping around. He's all these decks made up. So haven't seen it in action. But I mean, the only Theros cards in that deck are Thassa and the new Scry lands that are the dual lands that have friendly colors. So I can make that deck easy. I mean, if that can go in that has a world of possibility, because the only thing in this deck that's different is the Thassa and the Claim the Firstborn. So there can definitely be a deck that revolves around stealing your opponent's stuff and then owning it at your end step. So that's a lot of fun. We have what I want to do is I want to look at the current value of paper cards for Theros Beyond Death, because that gives you an idea as to what people think are going to be good during the first week or the first, in the pre-release, right?
Okay.
These cards aren't out yet, but yet the Magic market, like the actual value market, assigns dollar amounts to cards based on popularity. So I'm on MTG Goldfish, which is a cool website. If you don't know about it, it has decks, it has articles, and it also has card values. It has a whole bunch of useful information if you're interested. And I go up to the prices and I click on movers and shakers, and then I just click on the daily, so you see the daily change. Basically, I'm just going to go down the list here, and then the top daily change cards, the number one with an increase of a $5.59 jump in a day is Heliod Suncrowned.
I'm right there with you.
Awesome.
I'm looking at it.
So Heliod Suncrown is 2 colors, 1 white. It's a legendary enchanted creature. It's a god. It's indestructible as long as your devotion to white is less than 5. Heliod isn't a creature. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. Okay, it's a 5/5 creature for 3, which is wild. And then 1 colorless, 1 white. Another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn. Okay. So so you look at the card and then you're like, okay, why has this card jumped almost $6 in value and is currently sitting at a $31 price point? So this is like on day one, when you go to a pre-release, people will look at these prices and be like, okay, hoard those cards if you get them, because
If you crack them, keep that.
crack them, keep it. If you don't, whatever. But what I've learned since the War of the Spark pre-release, when I opened a foil Nicol Bolas Dragon God, and it was like an $80 value that day.
Wow.
Now that card is worth like $7 or $8 or something like that. Like it's just like at the time,
Yeah.
it's just like a stock market. If something is like seems valuable and is valuable at that moment, but then time affects all these values.
Speculation.
Speculation. There's people out there whose their lives are to speculate on Magic cards, and they buy low, buy high, whatever, and hoard the thing. So Heliod Sun Crown, don't know why it's hovering at $31 because there's so many different formats that it can fit into, and there's a lot of formats like the Commander or EDH format where there's multiple players and bigger decks and themes and stuff that revolve around things that I'm not familiar with that also make certain cards worth so much money. So that could be it, but I guess a 5/5 for 3 mana is pretty damn good, and whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control another target creature. So you can't give that lifelink, which makes sense, but sure, a 5/5 for 3. All right, I'll take it. And then at number 4, sitting at $8.80 with a 31 cent increase, is the Ox of Agonis. This card I think is really cool and might fit into a couple different builds that are currently in the top tier. It's a 4/2 creature. It's 3 colorless and 2 red. It's an Ox, and it says when Ox of Agonis enters the battlefield, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. Don't forget, if you have 0 cards in your hand, you still discard your hand. So if you're empty and you play that, you draw 3 cards. Okay. Or if you just have 1 card in your hand, which is maybe like a useless land card, you discard the 1 land and then draw 3 cards. So that's great.
Okay.
Situationally. If you're playing red, a 5-drop in a red deck is probably not where you're going to be. Like, mono red decks don't usually run something that costs 5 because you're running like 18 to 20 lands. So you're really tight on mana. So getting to 5 and playing it and keeping it alive is pretty rare, but that's a good card to refill your hand. And then the escape cost is 2 red, exile 8 other cards from your graveyard. So the lower the mana cost on escape, the higher of exiling the amount of cards in your graveyard is going to be. That's how they balance it. So for only 2 red, but you have to exile 8 cards, Ox of Agonis escapes with a +1/+1 counter on it. So if it's in your graveyard, it can come out of the graveyard, comes into play as a 5/3, which is awesome, a 5/3 for 2 mana. So the theory there is that if you're playing something like red and you're using burn spells and stuff, you're going to be filling up your graveyard pretty fast. And if that comes into play and you only have 2 lands in your hand, and when it comes into play you discard your hand and draw 3 more cards, you put 2 more cards in your graveyard, so your graveyard is going to fill up. So when that comes into play, and if it eventually dies, which probably will because it's a 4/2, so it's easy to kill, it can come back for a cheap cost. Like, it'll maybe die the next turn, but all you have to do is just pay 2 mana, get rid of 8 cards in your graveyard, comes back bigger, and it says when it enters the battlefield, you discard your hand and draw 3 cards. So anytime it comes back into play, you're getting that 3-card advantage too. So,
alright.
You're thinking.
It seems slow though.
It is slow. I mean, that's the thing. If it ends up in your graveyard first, somehow, you can still escape it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to cast it.
Yeah.
So maybe a mono red deck will keep that in their hand, discard it to something. There's going to be cards that...
so you kind of play it for free.
Yeah, or
almost.
play it for 2. You know,
yeah.
There's a card like Risk Factor, which is an instant, and it has Jumpstart. Jumpstart's a mechanic where you can pay the cost of a card in your graveyard to play it again, but you also have to discard a card from your hand. So like you have to have a junk card in your hand or a card that you want to get into your graveyard in order to play it from your graveyard. So that could be a little bit there. So I mean, it's still a pretty decent card. I mean, if it's red and drawing cards usually don't happen, and usually the drawback to red drawing cards is getting rid of cards first. So I can see where, like, if you ran out of cards in mono red or something that's fast, even like a red green, which that might fit into a lot better. That might do some damage, and you'll redrawn cards. So we're gonna hop over to the weekly change, which is a little bit down on the page there. These are all the cards that showed in the past 7 days. They showed a big increase of their speculated value. So the number 1 top winner is Heliod Sun Crown, and it jumped $12.53. Number 2 is Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. So, and again, the point of me going through this is to preview some cards, but also give you guys a little bit of an idea of like what's going to be popular and what to look for and why. I haven't really been doing the why part. Like, I haven't seen aside from watching Croquis and watching and seeing some of his theory crafts, I haven't done any detailed reading on what decks might look like. I just want to do it myself first and then fail miserably and then copy everybody else's deck.
No, that's not you.
Yes, it is.
No way.
Okay, so number 2 is Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. We talked about this card last week. It's the Elder Giant for 1 color, so green and a blue. And when it comes into play, you sacrifice it unless it escaped. And whenever it comes to the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, you draw a card, and you can put a land card from your hand into the battlefield, which is just wild. And it's a 6/6. I want to collect a playset of those in real life and on Arena because I can see that card fitting in nicely with blue-green elementals, especially with Cavalier of Thorns. Cavalier of Thorns, when it comes into play, you look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you can put one. If there's a land in those top 5 cards, you can put it onto the battlefield. And then the rest of the cards go to the graveyard, so it fills up your graveyard fast. And then with these escape costs being 5, exile 5 other cards, you can get that escape cost really quick and get it onto the battlefield and it'll stay. Let's see. The number 4 weekly change went up $3.07 to $14.17 is Dryad of the Elysian Grove. We talked about that one also. It's 2 colors and a green for a 2/4 creature. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, and lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. So it gives all of your lands the ability to tap for any color, and you can play an additional land every turn. So let's ramp, and then it allows you to play multiple colors very easily. Oh yeah, see that? Cavalier of Thorns right below it.
I don't see the weekly list.
It's right. It's
I can't find it.
It was if you just click on.
I have to click something.
Well, click on movers and shakers.
It's
It's
on
the
that empty
top left sheet.
top left prices.
Click on it.
Movers and shakers.
Movers and shakers.
Okay.
All right, and then just scroll down. You'll see weekly change.
Oh.
Right there.
Oh.
There we go. Funny. I just mentioned Cavalier. I wasn't looking ahead
There
on
it
this
is.
list,
Yeah.
and I said Cavalier of Thorns would enable and then Cavalier of Thorns is on the jumping list because of all this escape stuff, because you want to have your graveyard fill. So I'm glad that I was onto something there. It's not like it's a secret or anything, but Cavalier of Thorns is up to 1221. Wow.
Wow.
I've got a few of those stashed away somewhere in my countless piles of Magic cards around my apartment. But yeah, Cavalier of Thorns, that's going to be one you want to get your hands on, because that's definitely going to feed into the escape mechanic very greatly, putting cards into your graveyard and then being able to pull them out again. All right, next one down there is Daxos, Blessed by the Sun. That's the 2 white legendary enchantment creature. It's a demigod. It's uncommon, and it's Daxos' toughness is equal to your devotion to white. The power and toughness of Daxos is 2 and then star. So the star means your devotion. So if you have 4 white mana symbols on the battlefield, its toughness is 4. If there's 5, it's 5. So it fluctuates to the mana symbols that are on the battlefield. That's what devotion is. The more mana symbols that are present on the battlefield in play on permanence is his toughness. And then whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. That's really good. So essentially every creature that you play gains you 2 life, because it's going to come into the battlefield and it's also going to die. So for every creature that you play, essentially with Daxos in play, you have gained 2 life.
Wow. It's a lot of life-linky
Yeah.
gain life things.
White, I think you'll recall white, we've usually, when we talk about sets, white usually isn't the best color or isn't the most promising color. It'll have like 1 or 2 good cards, and then it's like usually just a shrug, and they're like, I'm going to play blue and green and red and black, all the other colors.
Yeah.
But white seems a little bit more promising this time, which is great because it's unfortunate that one color always gets the shaft. So it'll be nice to see if white actually can like push through and create a little bit stronger of a deck this time.
We need an angel.
We do need an angel.
Send me an angel.
I don't know why this card is 3 mana, 1/3. It's Thaumaturge's Familiar. It's a 1/3 artifact creature bird. It's flying. When that much familiar enters the battlefield, scribe one. Yeah, I'm not really seeing why that's worth $1 and went up 57 cents, but we'll just call it. It might be one of those cards that are in the. There's like all these supplemental things that come out when a new set comes out. There's like the brawl decks. Like there's things that are in there that aren't in other things. That might be one of the cards that's in one of those things. It's the only place you can get it. So I have a feeling that might be it. But I can't read the set number. All cards have a number within their set, and it's in the bottom left. It's got like 2 something something / 2 something something
238 / 214.
254.
254.
Is that-
258 / 254.
That's why. Okay, so if the first number is bigger than the second number, that means that card's in a different thing.
Oh.
Once anything goes over the set number, that means it's from something else. So that's exactly it. There was a common.
Gotcha, yeah.
There was a common called Arcane Signet that was only in Brawl decks. It was a common, and it was worth like $18 at one point because you can only get it in Brawl decks, and people who play Commander and Brawl and all that stuff. It was like the biggest thing for them to have in their decks because the way those decks work, it cost 1 mana and it added 1 of any color of your commander's identity. So like your commander, if it was like 5 colors or whatever, it was 1 mana to add 1 of any color, which is like a huge boost for those kind of decks. And it ended up being, it was a common, like it's printed at common, but it was worth like $20 or something. So sometimes that's why Brawl decks, when they are out, you can find the target for $20, but then some cards in them are worth $20. It's a wild thing, man. It's like Magic Finance is like a real deal, like market. Like there's real fluctuations, and I just wish I had more money to in time to like invest and then keep and then sell and just like if I could do anything, I would just buy things and just keep them. Because I've made the mistake a billion times already, like buying and selling.
Yeah.
Just buy the things, hold on to them, and just resist the urge to sell them when they're like low because they're not worth anything anymore, or sell them
those
high.
proxy websites where you can make cards,
make anything.
but they look exactly like the real card?
Yeah, it's wild.
How can they get away with doing that?
I don't know.
That's kind of scary
It
too.
is. Yeah, counterfeiting is a real concern nowadays too.
Oh my god, they look beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to buy them just so I can put them in glass and hang them on the wall. They're beautiful.
I like those alternative art proxies, like
Oh,
people
yeah.
who make like foil versions of like Moxes or like
Demonic Tutor.
the Demonic Tutor, the
That
full
was
art
so
one. That
cool.
one was so cool. Yeah, I really appreciate the art aspect of stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, could be having a art. I'm not saying shiny foily things or card backs. I'm saying the art aspect, like the full art Demonic Tutor, like the artwork on it is like, and then to use that for a card, it's like, oh, that's really neat.
Yeah.
All right. Top losers. Oko Thief of Crowns. What a loser. Did you hear? I'm sure you saw that Oko got banned in another format this week.
No.
Oko got banned in Modern on Monday. So.
Wow.
Oko.
That's the food tokeny thing.
Mm-hmm.
With the cat and the oven.
This guy?
No.
Oko?
No.
No.
Oko, create a food token, target artifact creature.
Oko does make food tokens,
Okay.
but Oko is just the worst card that they've ever made, and well, the best and worst because it's just overpowered. But just getting banned all over the place. Thank God. But
Loser, Oko.
you loser.
That's what happens to thieves.
Nyx Bloom Ancient. This card, like, I don't know why it's worth $18. It did lose $4 in value, speculated value so far, but this card looks wild. It's a mythic. It costs 4 colors and 3 green. It's an enchantment creature. It's an elemental, so that means it's going in decks that are ramping. It has trample. It's a 5/5, and then it's wow. This is why it's worth money. Its passive ability is if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. So Yeah, that's
Talk
going.
about ramp.
Yeah, that's going in ramp decks. That's going to go in some Simic Elemental decks, and you're going to have like gigantic Hydroid Crasises. You're going to have gigantic X spells like Finale of Devastation. You're going to have Finale Devastations for like at least 10 on early turns.
Mixbloom Ancient.
I'm not 100% sure how Nissa's ability and Nyxbloom's Ancient ability works, because Nissa the Planeswalker says every forest you control taps for 1 additional mana. So if you tap a forest for green, it creates 2. And then if you have this out, it says if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much as that mana instead. So does it, when you tap a forest with Nissa and Nyxbloom Ancient out, does it create 6 mana? Because 2 mana times 3 would be 6. Or does it just tap for 3 instead of 2? Yeah, it's one of those.
It produces 3 times as much of that mana instead.
Yeah.
So whatever it produces times 3.
It produces, but it says so. The word instead is what makes it like a little tricky.
Okay.
Because the instead, so this is how my brain is seeing it. The instead would
instead of the
negate,
original.
right, would negate the 2 that it produces, and it produces 3.
Just does 3
or
instead
or
of
2.
2.
Yeah. That's my question. So I'll have to pose that question too.
Yeah, that's tricky.
But anyway, so
You better have your allergy medication if you're playing that card, because
look at all the spores.
it's a lot of spores.
So many spores. This set, and as I've said a million times, this set is shaping up to look really fun. The in-person pre-release is Friday. Rachel and I are going. It's gonna be her first time playing Magic. Well,
Please
I
take
think
pictures.
I will take pictures. First time ever doing sealed deck, that's for sure.
Seal deck is my favorite.
Yeah, sealed deck's a lot of fun. It's a lot. I think it's easier for a new person to grasp sealed deck in that environment than drafting, because drafting is like there's a lot of thought that you wouldn't think about until it's too late. But sealed deck will be fun. We're gonna have she can come over and we're gonna sit and we're gonna look at cards.
It's the most fair.
Yeah, I think it's the
in a
most
way.
fair. Yeah.
Because like you said, drafting. If you have more knowledge of the set, if you're one of those people,
and if you're one of the kind of people who have the ability to remember what cards are in what pack and how when they come back around, what cards are still there. Like people,
that's next level.
I mean, that's pro level stuff, and
Yeah.
I mean that's even like good player stuff. I mean, people do, and that's a good skill to have. I've tried to do that. I don't think I have the brain capacity to do that. Like because I'm thinking about so many different things when I'm building my deck. I've tried so hard to be like, okay, I wanna see what comes back in this pack, and then I don't even recognize the pack when it comes back. You have to make mental note. There's a lot of information.
That's
so
tough, yeah.
But there are people who do it, and that's why they're as good as they are. But sealed deck on Friday at 4:00. We're gonna have a little primer. I'm gonna show her the mechanics, show her like kind of where to be, what to do, and then we'll talk about it on next week's pod. Let us know if any of you folks.
We haven't run the show to talk about.
Okay. We would love to hear about your decks, any pre-releases that you do, anything you do. So hit us up in Discord. Send some pictures. Show us your pre-release decks or any cool things you pulled out.
Yes, please do.
And then finally, I'm going to just go over my ladder progress real quick because I built a deck a couple nights ago and made it platinum with it. Played some best of 3, and I was like, all right, cool, that's fun.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can send you the. Or actually, you can. I posted a.
Platinum, its name is derived from the Spanish term platino, meaning little silver.
Oh, but isn't platinum worth more than silver?
Yes.
Yes. All right, I'm just gonna go over this deck real quick. So I was reading something just passively scanning Magic content. And somebody had mentioned a wolf deck, right? And when you think competitive decks, you don't think of decks that are like tribal, which is like a bunch of creatures that are all the same creature type. That's kind of more of like a casual thing. It's more of like, oh, that'd be fun if I had a whole deck full of zombies, elves, whatever. I mean, elves are a little bit more competitive because they do a lot more. But when you think wolves, you're like,
wolf pack. First thing that comes to my mind, a whole pack of wolves tearing you to shreds.
And that's the point, right? But usually, like wolves, there's like not a lot of like playable wolves, and then there's like they cost a lot, whatever.
Wolves are the pets of vampires.
Are they?
Yeah, the vampire castle. They always have wolves protecting the castle.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like in
Castlevania,
Bram Stoker's Dracula,
Yes.
when they get to the gate and there's that blue circle, and weren't there like wolves running around? I don't know. I think.
Yeah, wolves, and sometimes the vampires control the werewolves too.
Okay.
And the werewolves are like indebted to them. That is the whole thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
The thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw somebody had at some point somewhere in the last couple months had a wolf deck, right? That was like actually proved to be competitive. So I looked at it and I had turned off my computer at that point, and then I was like, you know what? Let me build this really quick because I'm in the mood to try something completely new. Like, I want to try something that's like not the decks I've been playing, and it could be a lot of fun. So I looked at the list and then copied the shell of it and then played it in a play queue. And I was like, all right, and I won. I was like, oh yeah, that was actually pretty successful. So I built a sideboard for it and played a couple more games in the standard ladder, but I won a couple, lost a couple, swayed back and forth. And I was like, all right, this card that are in it now, could do without it, and it needs more X, Y, and Z. So I tuned it a little bit. So I'm going to go through the deck list really quick and give you my reasoning behind some of the things that are in here and how the deck actually works. I call it I Wolf You. Have you watched the show You on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
I highly suggest, and anyone who's listening who needs a new show, You. I mean, you will love it.
Okay.
You will love it. It is funny, dark, suspenseful, thriller, like twists and turns. It is a great show. It moves by really fast. The characters are great. The acting is great. The writing is great. It's a very entertaining show, but it's dark. Just for a warning, it's a darker show. I'm not going to give anything away about the show in case anybody wants to watch it. But the name of the deck is a quote from the show.
Wolf You.
Okay, I Wolf You. Because I'm people say they're obsessed. I'm so obsessed with it. I'm really into it. I blew through. There's 2 seasons and I'm done. And I watched it. I started watching it like last week. So that's how good it is. Anyway,
I have trouble staying awake. Once I hit the couch,
yeah,
I'm done.
just stay sitting up. Don't lay down.
All right.
All right. So 4 Gilded Goose. That's the 1 green. Comes in play. It honks. It makes a food token, and you can tap it for mana. 3 Paradise Druid. Paradise Druid comes into play, and you never tap it unless you tap it for mana. 1 Assassin's Trophy. That's the instant for a black and a green that destroys a target permanent an opponent controls, and they can search the library for a land, basic land, and put it in the battlefield. 4 Mortify. That's the instant that costs 1 colorless, 1 black and 1 green, and it destroys a target creature or enchantment. Those are in the main deck because there's quite a few enchantments that are pesky nowadays that you want to get rid of, plus it destroys a creature as well, so that's always good, and the enchantment clause is really good. 4 Savvy Hunters, that's the 3/3 for 1 colorless, a black and a green, and whenever it attacks or blocks, you get to create a food token. And then it has a clause on it, it has an ability on it that says sacrifice 2 foods, draw a card. So making food, drawing cards is great. You always want to attack with it if you can to create a food. There's 3 Night Pack Ambushers. This is where we get to the wolf stuff. So a Night Pack Ambusher is 2 colors and 2 green with flash, so you can play it at any time. Other wolves and werewolves you control get +1/+1, so it's a lord, meaning that it buffs all your other wolf creatures. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, you create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. So the methodology, usually when you play Night Pack Ambusher, you play it at the end of your opponent's turn, comes into play. The next turn you can attack with it, don't play any spells during your turn, and then you get a 2/2 at the end of your turn, and it becomes a 3/3 because that buffs all wolves.
Nice.
That will happen every turn. If you don't play any spells during your turn, you'll keep getting another token as long as Night Pack Ambusher's alive.
Is there a vampire that you play that buffs all your wolves?
No.
Damn it.
4 Wicked Wolves, that's the 3/3 for 4, that when it comes to the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control, and then it says, sacrifice a food, put a +1/+1 counter on Wicked Wolf, it gains indestructible until end of turn, tap it. So usually what you want to do, it's a removal spell and a creature. If your opponent plays something that's a 3/3 or even a 4/4, if you have a food token available the next turn, you play your Wicked Wolf, you target your opponent's creature that you want to fight, which would do damage to each other, and then when the fight ability goes on the stack, you click your Wicked Wolf and you activate the sacrifice of food, get a +1/+1 counter on it. So therefore, the +1/+1 counter goes on it, it gets indestructible, so it buffs it 1, it gets a counter on it, and then it fights. So then it'll smack your opponent's thing, even if it was big enough to kill it, because you sacrificed the food and made it indestructible, it still lives. It's a really good removal spell, and it's a wolf, so it gets bigger if you have Night Pack Ambusher out.
So it doesn't take damage because
It takes the damage, but it's indestructible. Like it could take 7,000 damage, but it's still indestructible until end of turn, so it won't die.
Oh.
Yeah. So anytime you sacrifice a food token to it, it gets indestructible. So if somebody plays like a wrath spell, like during your turn, I have it out. I have a food token available on a Wicked Wolf. If you play Destroy All Creatures, in response, I can sacrifice my food token. It gets a 1/1 counter and gets indestructible.
So it'll
and then it'll be the only thing on the battlefield. Yeah.
cool.
2 Vraska Golgari Queen. So she's in there because she works really well with a couple. One or the other cards that I'll get to in a second. Vraska is a planeswalker, comes into play with 4 loyalty. It has 2 colors with black and green. Its +2 ability is you sacrifice another permanent. If you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Her -3 is destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. Now that's just a good removal spell. If you can get her out, you need to get rid of something that's cheap, you can do that. And then the -9 is you get an emblem with whenever a you get an emblem with, quote, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game, end quote. So she's got a +2 loyalty ability. So if you +2 her on the first turn she comes out, she's at 6. Then the next turn, +2 her, she's at 8, right? And then the next one you +2 her, she's at 10. And then turn 4, you minus her to 1, and you get that emblem. So that's one way to win the game, is just get a big Vraska, get the emblem, and then attack your opponent. And if your opponent can't block one of your creatures, you win.
Nice.
And that's like, I won that way today once, which was wild. Because I got Vraska out on turn 3 because I had the ramp guys. So on turn 3 I played Vraska, and I just kept doing the +2, +2, +2, and then when I was able to do the emblem, I did that and then attacked, and they were like, good game. So Vraska's in there for a multitude of reasons. I put 3 status statues in there. So status statue is a split card. One side of it is either, it's a hybrid mana, it's a green or a black you can pay, and it says it's an instant and target creature gets +1/+1 and gains death touch until end of turn. And then the other side of it is statue. It's 2 colors, a green and a black. And it's an instant that says destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment. So that's in there for board control, and especially the destroy target artifact part, because we are in a sea of witches' ovens, and we want to get rid of witches' ovens, and that destroys artifacts. So I put 3 of those in there instead of 1 creature that was in there. It was a lower creature drop. I took the creatures out and I put those in because it was having trouble keeping up with multiple creatures on board if you don't have the right draws. So those are in there for removal and board control. And then your 2 all-stars are the next 2 cards here. 3 Tolsimir, Friend to Wolves. Now Tolsimir costs 2 colors, 2 green and a white. It's a legendary creature, Elf Scout. It's a 3/3 creature.
Okay.
When Tolsimir, friend to wolves, enters the battlefield, create Voja, friend to elves, a legendary 3/3 green and white wolf creature token. Okay, so Tolsimir comes into play as a 3/3, and when Tolsimir comes into play, you get a 3/3 legendary wolf creature token. And then part 2, whenever a wolf enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life, and that creature fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens when Tolsimir comes into play. Just set it up this way. Say you have a 2/2 creature that I need to deal with. If I play Tolsimir, the wolf token comes into play. It fights your 2/2, so it'll eliminate the threat there, and then I gain 3 life because the wolf came into play. So whenever a wolf comes into play, you gain 3, and that wolf also fights something.
Cool.
Okay? And then your all-star in this deck is Garruk, Cursed Huntsman. That's a planeswalker from Throne of Eldraine that costs 4 colors, a black and green. Comes into play with 5 loyalty. Garruk is spelled Garruk if you want to look up the
There he is.
Cursed Huntsman, because there's a few different versions. So Garruk's first ability costs 0, and it says create 2/2 black and green wolf creature tokens with, quote, when this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garruk you control. So for 0, you create 2 wolves. 2/2 wolves. Okay?
Garruk is cursed.
Garruk is cursed.
You know, because he's a
He's
vampire.
a vampire, of course.
And he creates wolves.
So now with Tolsimir in play, the creature we just talked about, when you create 2 wolves with Garruk, those 2 wolves gain you 3 life apiece because of the ability on Tolsimir, and they also fight things if they're in play. So if your opponent has a big creature that costs, that's like a 4/4 creature, when those 2 wolves come into play, they fight something that your opponent controls. So you have 2 wolves do 2 damage apiece.
When this creature dies, put a loyalty counter on each Garruk you control.
So, and that's the big piece of the puzzle, is getting your wolf tokens to die, which sounds weird, but it's not. Because, we'll get to the last one, the middle ability is -3, destroy target creature and draw a card. Okay, that's great, like if you need to eliminate something, cool, it's a destroy creature effect and you get to draw a card, that's great. But the big thing is the -6. And it says you get an emblem with creatures you control get +3/+3 and have trample. So once you get your Garruk emblem, it's there for the rest of the game, and every single creature that you play is +3/+3 and has trample. But the only way to get there is to kill your wolves. So you want your wolves in the beginning to die by fighting stuff. Or with Vraska in play, if you remember her +1 or her.
Because it's the only way to get loyalty counters.
Exactly. The only way to get loyalty on Garruk is having his wolves die. Vraska's +2 ability is you may sacrifice another permanent. If you do, gain 1 life and draw a card. So you can have a wolf in play, sacrifice it to Vraska, you gain a life, you draw a card, and you get a loyalty counter on Garruk. So you keep getting them bigger. So the tempo is to just get Garruk big enough to minus it, to get everybody +3/+3, and usually you'll win the game there, and that's what's happened. When I had a good run of like a few games in a row, I would get Garruk out and get my emblem really fast. And if I had Tolsimir in play, that was an immediate scoop from everybody, because every wolf that comes into play is now like a 5/5 or a 6/6, and you're gaining 3 life, and it's fighting anything your opponent has. So that's your end game there. But your early and middle game is like ramping up. You've got Mortifies to kill creatures that your opponent controls. You have Savvy Hunters that it's a 3/3 for 3, and your Savvy Hunter creates food tokens for you. If you have 2 food tokens, usually you're going to want to draw a card, unless you have your Wicked Wolf that you want to sacrifice a food token to make it bigger. Everything works with one another in this deck in some little way to make your creatures better or make your board presence better. I really having good luck with it. It might benefit from some cards that come out in Theros Beyond Death, but I haven't really looked into it because I just built this a couple days ago, so I haven't really looked at anything that might benefit from it. And in the best of 3, the sideboard includes 3 Legion's Ends, which exiles a a creature with mana cost 2 or less, and all other creatures that player controls with the same name as that creature. Then the player reveals a hand, exiles all card with that name from the hand and graveyard. So essentially, that's for cats or like pelt collectors or paradise druids. Anything that costs 2 or less, you want to get rid of early. If you can Legion's End Cauldron Familiar early without an oven in play, that's great. 3 Noxious Grasp, that's the instant that kills a white or green planeswalker or creature and you gain a life. 2 Return to Natures, that's the instant that destroys an artifact, enchantment, or you get to exile a card from a graveyard. 2 D-Sparks, that costs 1 black and 1 white. It's an instant and it exiles target permanent with converted mana cost 4 or greater. Those are good for big creatures or Fires of Invention or anything in the Fires of Invention deck. 1 Prison Realm, that's just kind of in there. That's a flexible slot. I think I could maybe have it be something different, but Prison Realm's an enchantment for 3. When it comes to play, you get to exile a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. You get to scry 1, but if Prison Realm leaves the battlefield, that thing comes back. So it's kind of banished for a little while. And then 4 Shifting Ceratops, that's anything that plays blue or counter spells. Shifting Ceratops comes in. For those of you who don't know, 2 colors, 2 green, it's a dinosaur, it's a 5/4. It says this spell can't be countered, it has protection from blue, and for 1 green, you can give it reach, trample, or haste until end of turn. So that's your all-star when playing blue.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Questions are great.
I was looking up some stuff here
About werewolves
about
and vampires?
what happened in Garrick.
Okay.
Are you still on the werewolf deck? Did you start another deck? You're still talking about the Garrick deck?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not mono black.
No.
But Garrick is a black card. Yeah. He's he's black and green.
Black and green.
So you can splash blue in there too?
No blue.
Okay. It's just black green?
Green black, yeah.
Okay, after the last meeting, Liliana used the power of the Chain Veil artifact to curse Garrick, corrupting his power to summon wild beasts. As the curse takes hold and Garrick's fierce predator companions become sickly fiends, he finds that he's gaining new, chilling powers of death.
I like that.
I don't say vampire,
No.
but chilling powers of death. The Chain Veil is really cool. It's like a mask. It's a legendary artifact from M-something. M20. M15.
What does the chain veil say?
At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't activate a loyalty ability of a planeswalker this turn, turn target creature into a vampire.
You're lying.
Yes.
Yeah. For a half a second. For a half second, you had me. You want it to be so bad. I knew it.
Ability of a planeswalker, so you lose 2 life.
Okay.
Then for 4 colorless, you can tap in. For each planeswalker you control, you may activate one of its loyalty abilities once this turn, though none of its loyalty abilities have been activated this turn.
Oh, so you can activate it again. It's a lot of words to say you can activate it.
It's a lot of words for a Hearthstone player.
So that's cool. That's cool to give the visual about Garrick's, like what's happening when you do those loyalty things. Like his wolves are like zombie wolves, and he gains power from when they die, which is
Yeah.
that's cool.
That's cool.
But yeah, so I posted this deck list already on Twitter because one of our Twitter followers actually asked about it a little bit because I made it to Platinum 4th this morning. Played a few best of 3s and I ran through Gold 1 really fast with it. So I think I had good matchups, but I survived Esper Control twice, which is a really bad matchup for creature-based decks. Esper Control is just like destroy your creature, and then get like a big thing and then kill you. I was able to have enough threats consistently, resolve the Garrick, and then usually when you resolve the Garrick and they can't deal with it in a turn, that's pretty much it. But deck list will be posted. It is posted on Twitter already. I will post it in the Discord again, and probably post it on Twitter too and be in the show notes. So,
Cool.
so we're looking forward to Theros Beyond Death. We're looking forward to ranking up a little bit, and I can't wait to tell you all of the wonderful, fun things that happens this week with pre-releases and new sets and
Can
new cards.
you please at least do some voice memos of Rachel after like playing for the first time?
Yeah, sure.
Like interview her a little bit
Yeah.
with some voice memos.
Okay.
And maybe we can leave them in.
Sure. That's a lot of fun. It'll be content heavy from somebody who's brand new to especially like an advanced set, you know, like something that's like Theros that has like mechanics and themes and things that are like not by any means like a basic thing for Magic, a new Magic player, but she's been doing really well on Arena, so she knows how the game works. So she's like, you know what, I want to do it.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting. So wish us luck. We should.
I'm trying to get Brian into games too.
Are you?
Yeah. Like I have a plan to get the game Exploding Cats. You heard of it?
Yeah, I saw that at Untapped. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like really watered down,
Yeah.
but totally functional card games
Right.
that are, you know, reminiscent of what
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
So I'm trying.
It's gateway.
I'm trying to get him in the game right.
Yeah.
He hates cruelty to animals, so at first he's
Oh,
like
so you don't want-
Exploding Cats. He's like, what? No. There's Munchkins too.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
good one.
Munchkin stuff is fun.
Yeah.
Flux is fun too. Have you ever heard of Flux?
No.
I learned about Flux way back again when I ran Your Move Games. It's a multiplayer card game that can be played with one player or more. It's a stack of cards that does stuff. And the theme of the game, Flux is basically what happens. Every card changes how the game works, and it makes you think by what cards you have in your hand, how you're going to. Unfortunately, I forget how you win. But the fun of it is that everything is constantly changing. So one turn you could think something's going on, you're like planning your next turn.
Yeah.
But then a card I play completely turns the game on its side, and you're like, oh, I can't do that now. Now I have to turn it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's all these supplemental sets that can be like shuffled together and played. So you might want to look into Flux.
Yeah,
FLUXX. I think it's 2 X's or whatever.
Okay. That sounds fun.
I asked about it at Untapped recently, or not recently. I haven't been there in quite a while, but I asked about it. Like the original one is on like back order, but they have like it's been around for quite a while.
What's the theme? What's the theme of it? Is it
The-
art? Does it art on it?
No, it's really simple, which is
Okay.
nice. It's very almost like generic looking. Like the cards are kind of small. They look almost like business cards. And they're like kind of rounded. And then there's just like you look at it and it just says something on it.
Okay.
You know, it's like
Interesting.
the card backs all are the same, so they can be interchanged. But some of the supplemental ones would be like zombie based or like science based, or it's like something really weird that would like really make the game a lot more fun because there's some kind of theme in it. Like the original one was like I can kind of relate it to being like a really adult Uno.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
like Uno is very simple and it's when you learn how to play, you know how to play and you know what to do. But it's Uno with a huge twist because the game is consistently changing, and it's a lot of fun to like. When there's a lot of people playing, it's a lot of fun because there's so many things that go on.
I like it. Like it's a good. That's what sounds like a good game to play like at like a birthday party or like a holiday.
Exactly.
Thanksgiving,
Family.
Easter, like
and it's not like
we always say we're gonna play games, and we never play games.
It's a lot of fun, and it's not, and it's like wholesome, it's everybody can play, kids can play. It's like it's good.
We had one year where we played the game where
You put stuff in your head.
We did that. That was fun. But if you don't have something like that, conversation quickly deteriorates into like health and how's the doctor and then you can start going through everybody in the family and their health.
Like, you don't want to do that.
No, I'd rather be playing something fun.
We actually played that at Thanksgiving. My family, it was we got like the dollar store version, which is just like cards, like literally just cards and put them up and and I have a picture of myself. I'll show you.
Heads up, that's what the phone,
heads
the
up.
app one is called. Yeah.
It says so. It's like you put it up right, and then
It's a theme,
you're
and
supposed to
then
be like,
the other
you
people
ask
have
a
to
question.
guess.
You ask a question like, am I this? Am I this? Am I that?
Yeah.
And Mine was I am a cheese, and it was just like a little slice of like a wedge of cheese,
Yeah.
and I had to get Emma. I don't think I guessed it, but I have a picture of me holding it up. Says I am a cheese.
I just looked this up this morning. Do you know the difference between cheese and a cheese product?
Milk content.
Yes. Cheese is milk,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Yeah. Cheese
But cheese product
is like
adds.
cheese food. Did you see that? You know, cheese food,
No.
processed cheese food.
It's a cheese, yeah, so cheese product is a processed cheese thing. It's got cheese in it, but it also probably has salt. But Land O'Lakes cheese, oh,
That's
is
real cheese.
No, it's not.
Land O'Lakes?
Land O'Lakes cheese, the deli cheese that's like on your
Oh,
sandwich,
yeah,
they
yeah,
put on your
yeah.
sandwiches when you're a
Processed
kid.
cheese.
It is a processed cheese, but it's better than the Kraft singles. It's awesome. It's the best.
I remember learning. It's funny you bring that up. When I was younger, my grandparents were very thrifty, cheap. Is that a nice way to say cheap?
Well,
They saved their money.
okay.
Okay, so they shopped, and I shop cheap, and
Me too. I use
My-
coupons.
my grandmother, when she shopped, she would buy, you know, the sliced cheese singles, whatever.
The cheese singles, the plastic cheese.
Right, exactly. But she bought like the store generic brand one,
Okay.
and then one day my mom was like, said something because my mom, when I was younger, was concerned about what I was eating because my mom was kind of a hippie and stuff. And
Yeah.
I think I've told this story. Like she wanted me to be vegan when I was younger, but my grandma
wow.
was
I didn't know that.
yeah, my grandma was secretly feeding me ice cream and hot dogs when I was a baby.
Okay.
And, my mom didn't know. She was trying to feed me different. Anyway, so my mom pointed out one day that the cheese that Mama was buying wasn't cheese. It was cheese food. And ever since I was enlightened as to there was a thing called cheese food and know that it's not actually cheese, I just think that's the weirdest distinction in food. You're like, cheese food, that's chemicals and additives and stuff, and then
Yeah.
there's cheese. So it's funny you bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, processed cheese food.
Processed cheese food. Nectar of the gods.
Delicious. Leave one of those out at room temperature and see how hard it's like a vinyl record. In like 24 hours, it just becomes all hard and shiny.
I bought a beef jerky stick, and Brian's like, "Didn't you put that in the fridge?" I'm like, "No, nope,
These things survive the apocalypse.
it's good. It'll be fine."
Awesome. Well,
Well, I don't eat them. I eat them on the plane. They're a good snack on the plane. You gotta keep the protein up.
Yeah.
When you're working 14-hour days. Okay. Shoot. So, is there anything else?
I think I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
That's gonna wrap up episode 29 of Mythic Legendaries.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much for listening. Please tell a friend. Write a review for the show. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you so much. This is a commercial-free and advertisement-free show. You can show your support for the show by joining us on Twitter, Mythic Legendaries. It's at Mythic Legendary on Twitter. Our Discord is discord.me/Mythic Legendaries. Our email address is mythiclegendaries@gmail.com. Please connect with us. Let us know you're listening. Give us any questions, suggestions. We love it. We love all interaction with our listeners. We appreciate you so much. It means the world to us that you're listening. Thank you for being here with us. We hope you'll come back for episode 30.
Yeah. Thanks again, and have fun with those pre-releases. And we'll see you next time.
And LP for life. And glory belongs to the Titans.